Hi and welcome to a video that is a bit different from what you have seen on my channel so far, which is more geared toward minimalism. Another topic that's quite important to me is also personal finance, because I think that personal finance and minimalism kind of goes hand in hand, because if you are into minimalism, you're quite often frugal, which leads to some money excess in your budget every month, and those money we would like to invest in something so we can have them grow. So what I have made here is a bit of a short presentation for the January for our finances, also a bit on the personal fund. So as you can see here, I have made a small report and I've named it Personal and Finance Report. Not very original, but that's what this is for 2021 January. For the first month here, we have been it's been a quite busy month at work. I work in an industry that is quite heavily uptrending right now due to a huge demand from what we produce. So that is good that we have a lot to do, and I feel my job is quite secure. But obviously, you put in a lot of effort in it, and my wife is self-employed, so obviously that is also something that takes a lot of time, because it's up to you to make profits. And in Denmark right now there is a lockdown, which means that it's a bit harder to make money as a self-employed person due to restrictions. And some other topics is that I don't know if you've heard about the GameStop stock that has been shorted or squeezed. I don't want to go into details about it. You can always look that up if you're interested, but that created a lot of unsettling in the market at the end of month in January. So our returns were a bit lower than anticipated. The good news is we had an above average savings rate, which is really good. That is something that's a goal of mine. So our index return was 2.13%. So our stock gave us 2.13% more money than it did at the end of December. It was actually a bit higher, but it was due to this GameStop stock that was shorted, that it fell from roughly 4%, I think, to 2.13%. But again, we'll gain that back in February, hopefully, so that's good. On my pension accounts, it was measly 1.2%. I think the inflation in Denmark right now is around 1%, so it's not bad at all. It's okay. It's not. It is what it is. You can't. I can't really control those money anyway, so it's yeah. It's going to be there for 30 years anyway, so it's good. There'll be higher growth later on. Also, as I said, my wife is self-employed. She owns a business, and in January, which is usually a very quiet month because December is such a huge month due to demand around Christmas, January was expected to be a bit low, but it ended quite good actually. And this is because of the lockdown. There's a very few shops that can actually be open right now in Denmark. So, and hers is one of them. So she experiences a kind of upwards trend that she usually wouldn't have seen due to people just being tired of not being able to use money, I think. So that's good for us. And this year there was a small minus, a small deficit. It was below $1,500, which is good because there's been some huge investments in the company. And so if we hadn't done those and it's just been a normal year, it would actually have been a really, really good year. So we're very, very happy for that. In other news and goals, we have downgraded one of our cars. We have two cars. One of them is through my job, so I can't really decide anything about it. I have to have it. But we need another car as well, because my car is my car and my wife's car is needed as a sort of transportation device. As she car usually is, but no, she needs it in her business to get merchandise and stocks and goods and so on. So, but the good news is that we downgraded to a less expensive car, so we'll actually save a lot of car payments. And I didn't calculate the exact number, but I think it's a roughly $125 a month that'll be saved, which is good. And then it's a bit old news in January, but this is, I have this YouTube channel as you're watching right now. I have a website in Danish, which is around personal finance, and I for the first time, I actually wrote in there that I had this channel as well. So now these two are kind of linked, I would say. So I'll try to keep stuff separate, but obviously the personal finance, when you invest, the difference you have at the end of the month is something that can link and cross over between those two. So if I take a look at my 12 rolling month savings rate, I know it's not 12 months, it's from May last year, and that is because that's the month that I started to record my data, and actually the month where I said now we're starting. As you can see, it started good, and then it went slowly downhill. In September it kind of plummeted at 0, and then it went back up, and in January we had 33%, which is good. Unfortunately, as I've said earlier, my wife is self-employed, which kind of means that her salary is based on her shop, and it's a flower shop and some interior decoration, and all weddings almost were cancelled around the summer. So July, August and September, her revenue went quite low, and she couldn't really afford to pay herself. She would rather keep the money in the company, which is totally fine. But of course that makes our monthly surplus quite low, since we have only one salary to go on. So obviously we couldn't save that month, but after September it went back up again towards Christmas, which is good. And here in January also really good. I expect that February and March will be lower, mainly due to those 2 months, historically speaking, is quite expensive for us due to a lot of birthdays around the whole family. That is actually concentrated around those months. So, but let's see. Hopefully it'll be a surprise. My net worth is split a bit here. I can see I didn't put it in English, I put it in Danish. I have a small position in cryptocurrency. I bought it just basically because of some hype. I'm not too much into it, so it's only roughly, I think, $800, so it's not that much. These are in Danish crowns, I can see, so it'll probably be another point where I'll just brief over this quite quickly now, and then I'll go, when I redo this next month, I will do this in US dollars as well, so otherwise it wouldn't make any sense. But roughly you can divide the numbers by 7, roughly, and you'll have it in US dollars, which is close enough. So you can see here, but I can go quickly a bit. The net worth itself was raised by 19% from December to January. Most of it is actually coming from my home equity, which I raised myself by 2.5%, and that is based on the historical evaluation of houses in my area. So I have basically said, okay, houses last year, that was one value. What if I was supposed to sell it this year? It would be another value due to pricing going up over time. So I have applied those 2.5% increase to our house value as well. And then we have a huge part in a pension scheme. I have a quite nice pension scheme through my job, where they 12% of my monthly salary is also given as a pension, so that's not included in my salary, that's as a separate part. I don't match anything myself, I can't do that. There isn't any benefit to it. Actually, I can do it if I want, but there isn't any benefit. They don't match more, or there isn't any tax benefits at all. So I actually use a private pension scheme at the side, because there are some small tax. There's a small tax deductible I can make use of. And then the smallest in the middle here is for stocks. We don't own that many stocks because we have focused on paying down a mortgage, since we have a 2-part loan, and one of them is a bit expensive, so we've done that. The small here in the middle is just cash, just to keep around in case of emergencies. We don't really have a huge emergency fund, and that is based on 2 things. That one is that we don't really have a huge need for any fund, unless, of course, I know a lot can happen, but we have based it off a specific amount that we think is reasonable, and that is because we don't really see any huge sudden expenses that could come up that would go above this, unless everything happens at once, of course, but we have decided to go like this, a bit high risk. And the second thing is that in Denmark, if I were to lose my job, we have a unemployment scheme which actually pays you around, I would say it's around $3,000 per month while you look for jobs. And that should be sufficient to have covered our expenses anyway. So one of us can easily go on this called dagpenge, which is a daily allowance basically. Which is an insurance you buy basically, which is deductible, so it's a really good insurance you can have. And if one of us, me and my wife, should be on this one, we would easily be able to get by anyway, so that's fine. We've decided to do it like this. And the bottom one is the home equity, which is one we've been focusing on, so obviously this one is the biggest. So for blogging and YouTube, the channel is quite new. There's a small growth, which is good. It's nice to see that somebody is viewing what you are making and then positively getting subscribing to it. I'm very happy about that. My website, as I mentioned earlier, is in Danish, and from December to January, it's grown roughly 100% in users, from roughly 750 to 1500. Which is really good. I actually had installed AdSense in January for it because I want to try to see if I can just getting the site itself to pay for the upkeep of it. So basically, can it pay for itself? And as you can see, there's a long way to go because it made a whopping $0.5 in ad revenue in January. So obviously a long way to go. And some goals for February, or from this year actually. I had a goal from last year that I was to sell the old car and buy a new one. We did that. It was good. We expected $5,500 and it ended up being $3,250,000. So that is great. We want to avoid lifestyle creep, and the way I'm missing this is I kind of keep a look at my 12-month rolling average in different categories. For example, groceries and so on. And we kept this roughly the same as in the previous month, so that's good. There are some variable expenses. Obviously, for this month, it was the clothing for the kids since they grew up a size, and the next month they obviously will not have that. So those expenses will come at a curve. So, but it's good. It wasn't anything huge at all. For investing, I wanted to invest as much as possible, obviously, in 2021. And what I did was the remaining surplus we had on our accounts when the month was up, we invested, and that a total to $1,700. I have set a goal for 2021. I will want to read 4 books around finance or productivity or the likes. The first one I read was The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I swept through that in 1 week. I thought it was okay. Some of it is definitely something you can use when you go further. I think if I read it 15 years ago, 12 years ago, I think it would have been better because a lot of the stuff in there was very US specific, or it was very time specific at that time. I don't think you can do exactly like he mentions in it. And right now I'm reading a book called Your Money or Your Life, which is something I would hugely recommend, and I'll probably do a video of a book review of it because I think it was really good. There was some of it is quite old news for me, but that is because I have been in the niche genre that it covers for a bit of time. So if you're new to it, you would obviously feel that it was a whole new world was opening for you. So I can hugely recommend to either start right now or watch my book review when it comes out soon. So obviously I'm overachieving for this goal, since I had a goal for 4 books a month, sorry, 4 books for the year, and now we are roughly at 1 per month, which is great. I had a goal that I would like to increase my net worth by 30%. I think this should be achievable, just based on how I started here with 19% in the first month, and we invest every month, and we pension go up, so that is okay. Savings rate of 30%, I would like to keep that as an average in 2021. We started with 33%, so a good start. As I said earlier, February and March is usually quite expensive months, so this could be an issue, but we will see in a couple of months if it actually was an issue or if we solved it. And for my blog here and YouTube channel, I would kind of like to keep it at a steady pace with 1 blog post per in February, and I would like to have 1 blog post a month and 2 videos per month, and in January that was reached easily for us. So that was actually it. It was a small overview of my personal finance goal and some goals that I have regarding just my everyday life in terms of, for example, YouTube. I hope if you feel like it was something that was useful, or if it's something maybe inspired you to keep track of this yourself, or maybe do your own goal setting and have these. I would definitely go into more about personal finance and investment in the future, and this whole philosophy that is called FIRE. If you haven't heard about it, it's short for Financial Independent, Retire Early, which is a philosophy that a lot of people, not a lot, but more and more people follow, and to get out of the rat race and actually take their life back and use the time as they see fit, which is something that appeals much to me. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to support me, as always, you can subscribe or like or comment down below and say some encouraging words, and I will see you in the next video.